Hello, welcome again to the Detour Live. We're back again, and I'm joined by a four-time Australian national champion. He's probably better known as being the Basil Fawlty of Tour de France cycling tours. Iffy, welcome, mate. How are you travelling?
Daniel, I'm going really well, mate. And wow, what a day, eh? We've had two amazing days to start the Tour de France, and it's going to be a staggering 3 weeks, I reckon.
Now, we were both in the same boat last night. We stayed up. We were fighting through till about 11:30, 12, and then we just couldn't stay awake. But luckily, we woke up at the about 25K to go when it all started to heat up.
Yes, well, I'm going to have to be honest because to Jerry, he's probably listening to this, is that I did fall asleep, but only when I knew that it would be a quiet time, And then suddenly the phone rings. Jerry, I said, what about this and this? He was commenting, and I said, oh, look, I missed that. I just had to go to the little boys' room. I missed that, so I didn't tell him I was fast asleep. But he woke me up for the best part, which was great.
Now, we said on this show to watch out for. You tipped Alaphilippe. Whitey gave us the tip for Adam Yates, and geez, we almost went 1-2.
Yeah, well, 1-3. If we had to put some money on it, it would have been good.
Yeah, exactly. But Alaphilippe, what a sensational ride. Obviously, he's the strongest guy on the stage. It was a profile that did suit him. But he crashed a couple of times the day before, but sensational effort in the end.
Look, it was a great day. I mean, the experts, so-called experts, were all talking about this was a stage for the GC contenders. But the two big mountains were in the first half. They were never really going to be a feature. They were going to be too hard for the sprinters. Okay, the sprinters weren't going to be there. It was really going to be an Alaphilippe type, even though he's proved he could be a GC contender as well. But that or Van Aert or Trentin, a guy like that, or as Adam showed, Adam Yates as well. It was always going to be that last 30, 40K, and really that last climb was going to decide it. But Alaphilippe, it was staggering. When he went, he exploded off the front. But I was just as impressed with the way Adam Yates, when he moved, he closed that gap in just seconds. It was very impressive.
Now, they're all talking about that it's one of the hardest tours, particularly this first week. And there's no better man to talk about what's going to happen, particularly on today's stage, than our friend Matty White. Whitey, a pretty big stage yesterday, mate. At one point there, we thought your prediction of Adam Yates with the two-figure salute was going to come off, but agonisingly close at the end.
Yeah, it was, mate. It was we'd identified that stage and that climb that Adam was going to go after, and he did a very, very good job getting across there at the death to Alaphilippe and a young Swiss rider. And it was going to be hard to stay away. It was very, very windy the run into the bottom of the climb, and I didn't actually give the break too much of a chance. It was so windy, but the three up front were going well, and also there was a bit of a disorganised chase behind due to the small size of the group. So he gave it a good crack, that's for sure.
Yeah, I guess when Big Tom Dumoulin managed to hook his handlebar into the Ineos rider, Kozakowski, I think, and went down, that worked in their favour because they were a bit worried about him getting back and being comfortable. So Jumbo-Visma didn't sort of chase really hard for a while, and I just think that enabled them to stay away or help stay away.
Yeah, I think a combination. That was the time Adam had to go then, because also Jumbo weren't necessarily riding for the stage win. They're a GC team. They're trying to ride like Ineos or Sky have for the last decade, and they're doing it for security reasons more so than winning the stage. So you've got to react quickly and realise what team's goals are. And Jumbo's goal yesterday was just to keep their GC guys safe and not to win that stage. That's why Adam had to move quickly. He did.
Now, Whitey, it's a real filthy start to the Tour de France in terms of these stage profiles. Looks almost like a Giro. What are your thoughts on today's stage, mate?
Look, it's not a flat day. I think there's 2,500 meters of climbing. We're pretty much in one direction today. But it's quite a little bit windy down here on the coast at the moment in Nice, but the wind will die off as the stage goes on. But for us, it's a pretty simple one. There's not many opportunities for sprinters teams in this whole race. They can't let a stage like today go by. but we'll be riding pretty much off the sprinters team. Obviously, Alaphilippe in the Frenchie in yellow will want to keep that yellow jersey, and then obviously in the final we'll be supporting Luca in that up until 2 kilometres to go, and then he can do his own thing in the final. So, as a relatively straightforward sprint day.
And I saw you've got Matty Heyman driving the car this year. How did you select which one of the sports directors was going to be behind the wheel? Did you do like a hot lap around the service course? And how's his driving been going so far?
No, his driving going good. Look, we're rotating the directors through the 3 weeks with a combination. Julian won't be doing as much advanced course this year as normal because we've actually checked out 12 or 13 stages already, so we won't need it. He's in today, but between Matt Wilson, Matt Heyman, and Julian, those guys will be rotating through car 1 and car 2 driving. And Matty's got the first 3 days in car 1 with me, and then we'll pop him in car 2 for a block after that.
Now, Whitey, sometimes it's hard to pronounce riders' names. There's so many different nationalities, and I struggle, with guys from England. And I come across a clip just before that was quite hilarious. I just want to give you a quick look at this one, mate.
Higita's won the Bunchy in from Greg Van Armenart. Van Armenart. Van Armenart.
Hello? Okay, just a second. It's for you.
Van Armenart. Hey.
Okay. Champagne comedy. I think you've been stitched there, mate.
I have been stitched up for a change, not by yourself. Yeah, look, we do get some of the foreign names wrong, and at least I can say it better than my 6-year-old who calls him Banana Mart with a B.
And another big thing during the tour is snacks. What have you been going for? What's been your snack of choice so far?
Very light on so far, mate. With salads, sandwiches, and there hasn't even been chips or Pringles in the car so far. But we're on a bit of a regime this year, mate. A bit of a regime. So all salads all round, and nothing special so far. It's a long 3 weeks, but no, just a simple salads and sandwiches for some.
Whitey, you trying to say no pies? You haven't had a pie yet in this tour?
I have not. Unfortunately, they're not big in France. If there was pie shops available, I would have one. But I usually save that for 1 month at home, Ibby.
And who's your prediction for the stage? You're bloody good yesterday, mate. Who's in your crystal ball?
Look, I think the strongest team for the lead out here is definitely Quickstep, and Sam Bennett looks okay. I think Caleb pulled up okay from the crash, but look, hopefully Caleb can get the win. But as far as we're going to support Meza as good as we can, but as far as those big sprinters, Quickstep have the best lead out for sure, and it's going to be a battle royale. And also one of those, it's a dead straight finish. So as always, if you get the timing wrong, you put your sprinter as a bit of a sitting duck there. So it'll be a tight one. And these sprinters know that there's not too many opportunities in this race, so it'll be a hectic final.
And also, with Adam Yates so close on GC, is there a chance of maybe having to play at the Jersey down the track in a couple of days' time?
That would be that would be ideal. That would be ideal, Dan. Yeah, look, knowing Alaphilippe, he's not going to relinquish the Jersey easily. But obviously, if we can see a weakness anytime soon, we'll be taking it.
Good stuff. You got anything else you want to add, John?
No, look, it's been fantastic, mate. We're going to have him every day. I don't want to wear him out, but we're looking forward to a great day. I'm going to put my money on Caleb today. I think he'll be pretty angry. I noticed he sat back, really looked after himself yesterday, just cruised in as best he could. I reckon he'll be fighting fit today.
Yeah, it'd be interesting final today. Interesting. There's only probably 4 more sprints left, so they'll make the most of it.
All right. Well, good stuff, Whitey. All the best for today, and hopefully things pan out over the next couple of days.
All right. Thank you.
See you, Whitey. Thanks, bud.
Some interesting insights there. And yeah, as we said, they're not that far off the yellow jersey. And that can obviously have a huge impact on sponsors and exposure. And it'd be interesting to know the ratings during this COVID period and what effect it's had, because a lot of people are going to be watching it at home that aren't at the race itself. You just cut in and out again. You there? You got to get rid of that dial-up internet.
I've got the good stuff, evidently, but anyway. Look, evidently, because it's 2 months later, because normally in July it's holiday, so all the people in the area in France are at the race. That's why they get nearly 1 million people a day. Well, they're not getting anywhere near that, and it's an hour later, so that people can get home from work and watch the Tour de France. So I think they'll be a bit like SPS. I think they'll have record viewers.
Now, we're a bit late on the question. Sorry about that, guys. But we've got one from our mate Jason Cruz. Will Caleb be affected with less team members? What's your thoughts on that one, Iffy?
Undoubtedly. He's missing two really strong riders. Philip Gilbert was going to be the man closing things down, and John Degenkolb, one of the world's great road sprinters himself, was going to be the second last man to deliver him. The beauty of Caleb is he's like Robbie McEwen. Of course, you want the best lead out possible, but he has the ability to just jump on other trains and come off wheels. He's a master at it. Still got some really, Roger Klug will be crucial to everything that happens. And he's got a team that's dedicated just for him. So, okay, they're missing two really strong guys, but I will see how it goes today. I think they'll deliver.
And we've got another one from Mark Cowland. He wants to know, how long are you thinking Alaphilippe can hold the jersey this year?
Oh, well, he had 14 days last year. I could actually see him going pretty deep, but this is a tougher tour. It is a tougher tour. So interesting to see how, like last year, he didn't believe he was going to hold it that long. So he rode very aggressively on many stages that in hindsight, I wish he probably would have gone back and saved a little bit. So I wonder if that's going to be in the back of his mind as we head down this tour. But look, I'd love to see Adam Yates just be able, it's only 4 seconds to pinch those along the way. But they're a very, very strong team, the Dakota Quickstep, who are just about holding it. I could see him holding it right into the final week.
Now, we've got a jam-packed show. We were able to catch up with Simon Gerrans before, and he's obviously got a new role commentating with ASO. But before we do, we should send a bit of a cheerio to our sponsors. Kick things off with, obviously, Mitchelton Wines. Johnny?
Yes, look at that photo, the magnificent Mitchelton Winery at Nagambie. That's the hotel out the back there with the pool. It's got the best cellar door there of anywhere, and a wonderful restaurant. Just a beautiful place on the Goulburn River. So once things cleared up, that's where you've got to go for your first holiday. And
obviously, Let's Go Motorhomes. If you need to rent a motorhome, you know where to go.
Yes, they've got their special going at the moment. So you jump on board and you get 5% discount for booking 60 days ahead. And that's about when the state's going to open up. So perfect time to book your Let's Go Motorhome.
And now this one, Lexus of Blackburn. This was the picture I wanted to use. It's got cycling jerseys. It looks really clean. But you were like, nah, mate, I've got a better one. Use this photo. And that's you and Jerry. Have a look at you. You look like cocoa bean farming or something.
We're down at the start of the Cadell Evans Great Ocean Road race, and that was our lead car for the Bay Classic, the Lexus Blackburn Bay Classic. So yes, we wanted to put that car. That was a monster of a thing to drive as well.
Yeah, and before we get to Simon Gerrans, we'll just have a quick word from our mates at Bike Exchange.
We are the world's #1 bike marketplace with over 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Okay, we might as well dive straight into our interview with Simon Gerrans that we recorded a little bit earlier today. We've got a very special guest on the Detour, Iffy. It's none other than Simon Gerrans. Gerro, been a while, mate. How are you finding your new role at the Tour de France?
Yeah, g'day, Jonesy. It's great, actually. Whole new experience here for me at the Tour de France. This is my 13th lap around France, but the first time on the other side of the barrier, sort of doing stuff behind the scenes. So enjoying it so far.
Now, you're having to commentate not just for an hour, you were talking 6-hour stints. It must be a fair marathon when you're in the commentary seat for so long.
Yeah, it's definitely a marathon, not a sprint. But the team here are really good. I'm working alongside a seasoned pro in Anthony McCrossan. So we're over here replacing Matt Keenan and Robbie McEwen, which most of the Australian audience are obviously used to hearing and still be hearing this year because those guys are still covering the SBS. But Matt and Robbie were unable to travel over to France this year, so they asked Anthony and I to step in and fill their big shoes to host the sort of international feed.
So, Gerro, great to see you, mate. But so you're in the bubble, outside the bubble. How's that all work with the bubble?
Okay, we're in our own little bubble here in the Tour de France, so we don't have any contact with people that within the peloton or have any contact with the guys in the peloton. So yeah, there's sort of a number of little groups working within themselves here at the Tour de France. So yeah, I'm basically with the international feed television team. So I haven't seen any riders officially since the races or any of the directors or any staff officially since the races got underway.
So you're in that big. Sorry, because you're in that big trailer right on the finish line there. Can you just give us a quick look at what it looks like there with the where you are?
Yeah, sure. So I'm in the commentary booth where maybe 25 meters or so after the finish line. So I'll just swing around. The guys are setting up here for the day, but you can kind of see out that window over there is the finish gantry, and the guys just putting out the barriers out here now as we speak because we go on air in about an hour, so it's obviously about an hour till the guys hit the the rollout.
So, Gerro, how much prep work do you have to do for every stage to fill that 6 hours? And have you got a lot of advice from other commentators on how to get through it?
Yeah, I try and reach out to the guys all the time. I reached out to a number of commentators that I've sort of get along well with and worked with a little bit in the past. And they've been fantastic sounding board because, yeah, I've definitely sort of jumped straight in the deep end here and learning on the fly. But as far as preparation goes, I try and do similar preparation study-wise to what I used to do as a rider. So obviously looking at the race book, you're looking at all the profiles of the climbs, you're studying the wind direction, you're trying to get a feel for how everyone else in the peloton is, or how everyone in the peloton is going, who are the favourites for the stage, who maybe had a tough day the day before, who are targeting the stages sort of down the track. So it's pretty analytical, but much the same way as I used to approach as a rider.
Now, I was just going to say, with all that info that you've gathered, what insights can you give us for stage 3, mate?
For stage 3, so yeah, I was just actually looking at the wind directions before you guys gave me a call. So it looks like they might have a bit of tailwind and cross tailwind for the first few Ks of the stage, but then maybe the last 40 or 50, it's going to turn into a headwind. So perfect conditions for a breakaway to jump away up the road nice and early on. There's quite a few undulations, narrow roads, so a break will be out of sight really quickly. But then they'll have to have quite an advantage if they think they're going to stay away for the final.
That was some great insights for the stage. Now, with this technology, we can't show clips over 5 minutes, so we've had to split it up into 3 parts. But one other thing I noticed, Iffy, it's funny when we do interviews because you and I don't know when the next person's got to speak. So there's a lot of so we'll get better over the next 3 weeks telepathically.
We'll have to keep watching how Matty Keenan and Robbie do it. You know, they used to be able to touch each other or give each other a touch up. Now they're in different states. So,
I think the finger up, like if you want to ask one or if you've got one, just do these ones at all. Yeah, exactly. So part 2, we relive some of Gerro's great highlights from the tour. I was going to say, we can't have Gerro on without getting back in the time machine and talking about some of the great memories over the years, and there was plenty of them. But obviously 2013 was a pretty special time, not just for yourself, but for the team. And that first ever stage victory at the Tour de France must hold a pretty special place in your Rolodex of victories, Gerro.
Absolutely, Jonesy. Yeah, that little sort of stint we had in the team there over a few year period was definitely a highlight of my career. And one of the key points in that was the Tour de France in 2013. We just had a fantastic group of guys there. we're all working really well together and gel well. I was able to win stage 3 of some great teamwork and a really solid lead out from Imps. And then we sort of backed that up with a team time trial victory again the next day, and which put myself in the yellow jersey. So yeah, definitely fond memories. And it was actually great to be back in Nice the first few days of the race around the Tour de France, because it did bring back so many memories from that 2013 tour.
We're just looking at some images now. Unbelievable period. Iffy, like you were there with Jerry popping the champagne in the backgrounds. Definitely a year that the team won't forget.
Sorry, bud. The vision we're just looking at now, the hairs are standing up on the back of my neck, and he's just putting on the yellow jersey there, which is just sensational. But the stage win, actually the only stage I missed on that whole tour was the stage you won, Gero, because I was really crook that day and I couldn't get out of bed. But that was the only one I missed. But it was very disappointing. But I was there the next day when you put on the yellow jersey, which was something really special.
Now, not only that, Gero, but you talk about sportsmanship. A lot of people remember that gesture from when you handed the jersey to Daryl. Now, just to spark your memory again, I want to play a quick scene from All for One about that special moment.
It was a life-changing experience just to have that jersey. So I thought, why not hand it on to a mate and change his life as well?
Hey, that's what matemanship's all about. That's what I said. That's what this culture and the organisation, mate.
It takes a big rider to actually share the glory with his teammates. So, of course, I'm always forever thankful for that gesture.
You'll be in those books as the very first, not just of a country, of a continent. How does it make you feel?
Oh, magic. It's, to be able to even say that I've worn the yellow jersey, yet alone say that I've written history for South Africa is, at the moment, I don't think anything can top this.
Oh, you did it. You did it in yellow.
I think everybody just, I reckon, me included, had a little bit of a tear on the day, because that's an emotional moment in sport, because we all know what it means.
Do you still get to this day people coming up and saying, shit, you're a good bloke?
No, not so much. It's sort of, yeah, I kind of feel very much so. It feels like a lifetime ago so much of that happened. But I'm sure, Jonesy, you'll remember, when I first completed the first stage that I was able to wear the yellow jersey, and we got in the team car and we're heading back to the hotel, and I kind of dropped the bombshell on you and Steve-O, the fact that what my plans were for the next day.
Yeah, I remember looking at Steve-O and he was like, geez. I don't know if Steve-O would have handballed it on, but at the time it was a great symbolic gesture, and it was something special. Yeah, fantastic insights there. You never get sick of looking at that vision. And I remember back specifically to that moment. That was the first time I got so overawed with emotion of the moment, particularly when they first got the jersey, because you see how much goes into any pro cycling team, and it's so hard in the climate with sponsorships and things like that, and it obviously requires a lot of resources, a lot of money, but the effect that those moments have on everyone connected with the team, it was just such an emotional moment, particularly for guys like Jerry. And he, talk about karma. He had all these Jayco managers there. I think there was 200 of them at the finish line.
Jayco dealers. Jayco dealers. It was special. He had a fantastic big marquee right on the finish line. And I remember I got invited in, luckily wormed my way in there as I do. And I remember as it was counting down and we realised it was going to be maybe they could win that last that stage, and they did it in record time. And then suddenly the whole place erupted. And I remember all his main dealers are there. they probably thought this is what always happens. They didn't realise it was just such a special moment. And I remember Jerry and Val, they hugged each other. It was beautiful. And then he pushed all the deals out of the way and gave me a great big cuddle. It was pretty special, actually.
And as we spoke the other day, that was off the back of the bus crash. And Jerry said, we have to win a stage. And within a couple of days, not only have they won a stage, they've got the jersey, and it all just came up apples. And at the time as well, we were filming the AC/DC music video with the blow-up guitars. So when Gerro had the yellow jersey, we had him out the front of the bus with Steve-O and doing the Akadaka. And I remember the world media just going, what the hell is going on? Like, who is this team? Like, didn't make any sense. But
it was something special, something really, really special. Yeah.
So the last part of the chat with Gerro was all about his plans for the future.
It was one of the most wonderful times in sport. But now that you're retired and you're enjoying this new role, is it something you might look at doing more of? We can't really judge you because we haven't heard you, so we don't know if you're doing a great job or not. We're going to take your word for it, I guess. But are you enjoying it that much you would think about moving in that direction?
I am enjoying it. I'm not sure if it's something I would do as a full-time gig, but definitely it's a great way to sort of get back into the racing and check in with the guys and follow what's going on. I'm obviously still very passionate about the sport and still enjoy sort of getting involved and being around the racing again. So hopefully I'll be in a position where maybe I can call some races in the future that you can listen to there in Australia.
Appreciate you coming on the podcast, mate. Before we let you go, you're still looking fit. You still bopping around race weight or what?
Not far off, funnily enough, but I'm not so fit, but not far off race weight. But yeah, just keeping super busy.
Good stuff, mate.
Now, just a little bit of breaking news for a lot of the fans out there listening to this, because Gerro, you're planning to come back to Australia. If you can get a plane, hopefully by the end of the year.
Yeah, if they let us back in the country, we're hoping to move back later in the year. Throughout this all sort of COVID lockdowns, Rana my wife finally said, you know what, I think it's time. We've been traveling the world for long enough now. I'd like to sort of settle back down in Melbourne.
Oh, well, we look forward to seeing you back on Aussie soil, mate. Thanks for joining us on the detour, buddy, and good luck for the rest of the tour.
Cheers, guys. Thanks very much.
Yeah, see you, mate.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to get Gerro on the detour down the track as well, because he's got one of the smartest racing brains. Like you look at a rider, can you name one that got more out of his career than Simon Gerrans?
Not really, no. I remember a lot of people just used to think he was got more than his ability showed, but I actually think differently, because people forget that Gerro actually had a serious knee injury that was that serious that he actually could have qualified to go in the para games, and he only started cycling to help that injury. So because of that, he started late and he took a long while really to develop. But once he started developing, he just got better and better with age. So you don't win Milan-San Remo, Liège-Bastogne-Liège, yellow jersey in Tour de France. Almost, it was second in the World Championships, which you should have won. You don't do those things just on courage. You've got to have a stack of ability as well.
Now, we encourage, as always, people to write in questions. You can do that live. We've got a bit of a comment from Alexander Woolley. Sandy, it was fantastic for Australian cycling with so many Aussie team members and now no Aussies in the team. We mentioned that to Whitey the other day, but it really has evolved to simply picking the best team possible, and things like where you're from don't really factor into it as much anymore, Iffy.
Yeah, look, it just dropped out for a second there. But look, as Whitey said the other day, we don't. When we're picking the team, it's an international team. When we're picking the team, we don't actually check their passport. We're looking at who has the form right at that moment, But it's still an Australian team, Australian DNA. As Dara said earlier, we've still got the Australian flag on there. And so it was a great piece on SBS boys, Macca and Christoph were talking about in depth this afternoon, saying it's the avenue to get young Australians into the team. Still plenty of Australians on Mitchelton-Scott. They'll be starring in the Giro. They're trying to set Durbo up to win the world time trial title. It's still the avenue into the world of world cycling for young Australians, and it always will be.
Now, one thing that we enjoy doing on this podcast, Iffy, is going back in time. And we've actually, thanks to our mate, David Adderley, old Diesel, he's done a little bit of a sting for us. So we're going to fire up the Detour DeLorean.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Okay, Iffy, I want to take you back. I've got two memories, actually. I'm going to start off with a bit of a serious one, but then I'm going to finish the show on a bit of a lighthearted note. But I want to go back to 2015 Tour de France. Now, going into that tour, Valon had done a deal with GoPro. So GoPro were going to be the big sponsors of the race. They gave all teams all these little GoPros to work with. And for me, I was like, oh, this is fantastic. It's like Christmas. You know, you got this big bag of toys to play with. And I was fiddling around with the GoPros, and they had this real tiny little one that was the size of a matchbox. And I remember just mucking around at the buses one day thinking, I've never seen a camera on a golf stick. You know, I wonder what that would look like. And it didn't go down so well. This was day one.
Welcome to the second day morning matches of the 39th Ryder Cup.
You're an idiot.
So I broke a couple of the cameras early on. But one of the big things they wanted was they wanted GoPro vision from mechanics in the race. And I remember the American guy going, hey, if anyone can get footage of a mechanic changing a wheel, I mean, that is going to be like the gold standard of footage. And I thought, we're going to get that within 2 days. So I spoke to Fausto and I said, look, here's the GoPro. This is how you work it. Day one comes back. All I had was pictures on it. Like he didn't know how to turn the camera on properly. So day two went through, trained him up again. And he finally worked out the routine. So I said to him, Fausto, whenever you hear shoot, crash, click record. I know it's a pain in the ass, but if you can do this, you're going to create history, mate, because I've never seen vision of a crash, if there is one, from a mechanic's perspective. To the bad luck of the team, there was a horrific crash on stage 3. So what I wanted to do is go back and Fausto had the vision of this crash. This was the first time I'd ever seen a mechanic's point of view from a moment like this. So I just want to play a scene from backstage pass on that day.
Big crash. Still a big crash.
Alba, new bike. Here on the side, I think he's on the back side from Okay mate, we are blocking behind. They are coming with a new bike from Alba already. Whitey is on his first way with a new bike for Alba. The other guys, we are blocking behind now, the mechanics are there. We come as fast as possible. So guys, don't stress too much, they're going to neutralize the race. They neutralize the race.
He's neutralize the race, eh? So it is, yeah.
Gerrans, ik broke die arm, hè. Neutralize the race now. Huh? They neutralize the race. How many do you have? Yeah, they stop the race. We're gonna have them. But, so you give the new bike to Alba or not?
No, I didn't see him. Unless that's why I kept riding. I didn't see him.
Yeah, massive drama. And so when we got to the finish line, obviously Gero broke his arm, Darryl Impey did his collarbone, Bling was badly banged up, Alba was banged up. It pretty much decimated the whole team in one crash. And I remember when Fausto came to the bus, I sort of said to him, mate, it's not a big deal, but did you happen to turn the camera on? And he looked at me, he's like, yep. And I remember thinking, oh shit, this footage is going to be pretty riveting. And I remember watching it on my laptop and the sounds of the crash, like you've obviously raced. So for people like me, I'd never seen it. And then we uploaded it to YouTube that night. Within, I think, an hour, we had 500,000 views. It went all around the world. I think GoPro were a bit pissed off because we didn't give it to them to upload, but Orica Green Edge got 2 million views. Though it's really changed the game, hasn't it, Iffy? Some of the access they get with particularly the little cameras in the race now.
Yes, look, it's been a fantastic addition. Yeah, it's been a fantastic addition to the coverage. Can you hear me? Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Good,
yes.
Good. Yeah, look, you're right. It's been absolutely brilliant. The biggest shame for me is that originally that GoPro footage was going to be the property of the teams, which is going to be a way for them to make some income. And that's been a bit snuffled over the last few years, and it hasn't really...
Yeah, you dial up internet, Iffy. She's cutting in and out, mate. But if anyone wants to see the raw vision, I think in YouTube you go to Mechanic Cam 2015 Tour de France. Now, I didn't want to leave it on that because crashes, as we said the other day, it doesn't leave you feeling that good. One of the funniest things that ever happened on the backstage happened to fall on stage 3 at the Tour de France, and that was in 2014 when we used to travel up the road with Julian Dean and we mix it with the fans. And this one particular time, we saw these Kiwi fans. I thought, oh, fantastic. Julian Dean, probably arguably their best ever cyclist. We'll have a pretty good interaction here. And it didn't quite pan out the way we thought it.
How you going, guys?
G'day, mate.
You guys all right?
Yeah, how are you?
Good, good.
You know who this bloke is in the car? Can't sing, obviously.
Don't worry about it. We're
Good to see your career was a memorable one there, Jules.
That's right.
This is one of your best ever New Zealand riders sitting in the driver's seat. Sorry.
That's all right, mate.
What are you doing working with the bloody Aussies anyway?
Yeah, speechless.
Well,
that went well, didn't it?
that started the Who is Julian Dean revolution. People used to make shirts at the race, and he's a good man, Julian. And I miss those days when we used to go out on the tour and mix with the locals. It was fantastic.
My favourite Julian Dean story, and there's a lot of them because he was a seriously good bike rider, I remember that. But there was a mountain stage that started in the Pyrenees. I'm trying to remember the town. But anyway, they had the stage that went straight into the mountain. So all the riders went warming up on the course. And this gendarme thought Julian was just a tourist and told him to stop. But he had his earphones on. He couldn't hear the copper. Next minute, the copper has gang tackled him off the bike and broke his carbon wheels. And so Julian turned around and punched out the copper, and it created a bit of a fracas before the start. But
Julian rode back to the bus, and I was there with Scotty McGrory. We were waiting for an interview with Whitey, and he came back and his wheel was all buckled, and he had claret on his face, and he looked at Whitey and goes, "Could be in a bit of trouble, eh?" And Whitey's like, "What have you done?" And he goes, "I hit a copper." It's like, what? So he spoke to the chief of police and they cleared it all up. It was just a misunderstanding. But so Iffy, before we go, jam-packed show. Who's your prediction for the stage? Caleb Ewan?
Yes, I'm going with Caleb. But before we move on to that, I just want to touch on our special guest for tomorrow night. And the big news everyone knows is Michael Matthews. So it's all been out there. Michael Matthews is has signed with Mitchelton-Scott for next year. He's coming back into the family. I rang him just before to try to get him on now, but he was just jumping on the bike to do 2 hours around the Stelvio in training for the Giro, and he couldn't come on. But he's looking forward to it's a rest day for him tomorrow. So we're going to have Michael Matthews in depth talking about coming back to the Green Edge Mitchelton-Scott family, and he's really, really looking forward to it. But he got quite emotional when I said, "Welcome back, mate," and he went, "Oh, thanks, Johnny." He was really emotional. He said he did say when they knew he was in the market, they contacted him. Jerry rang him personally, and he said that was the most moving thing. He said, "Come back to the family." He said he broke down. He said, "I knew straight away that's what I had to do." Beautiful story.
what a lot of people wouldn't know, Johnny, is that you were Michael Matthews' personal bodyguard at the 2014 Giro, which resulted in him missing the start line 3 or 4 times.
That is complete another bull dust, Dan. As usual, you like to mix
You
it
had
up.
one job.
And I did it really well. I can't help it if others tried to interfere and hold me back, but I got him there. I was like Cadell's man Serge, George pushing people out of the way. It was I loved it. Loved it.
We've got a few comments. Angus Farrow, this old man must know his stuff. So that's a compliment for you, Iffy. Wendy Superfan, great news. Yay, Bling. And Samantha Ince, yay, Bling is back. So the fans are obviously stoked that Bling's coming back for the team, which, yeah, it's a great sign. I mean, there's a lot of archival footage. We've got 24 hours now to put something pretty special when he comes on tomorrow. So definitely looking forward to that. So we've only got 2 Aussies in the race.
First one to come on there, Angus. Sorry, mate. The first one that came, Angus, that was my grandson. So he's a cheeky little bugger. But anyway.
Good stuff. As always, if you want to get involved with the show and tell your mates, it's facebook.com/Detour Pod. And for YouTube, search the Detour Podcast in YouTube. It's always good to subscribe because then you get notifications if you do forget. And then, yeah, spread the word. And we're going to be 7:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time every night for the Tour de France. And if you want to look at some of your other interviews, Iffy, there's some on YouTube as well with Cadell Evans, as we mentioned the other day, is an absolute ripper where he talks about the 2011 Tour de France.
Yeah, there are some good ones there with Cadell, Phil Liggett, Stuart O'Grady, Robbie McEwen, Jerry Ryan. We've had some great ones, and I really liked the one with Spratty.
Yes,
she was opening up, and she's looking at some big races coming up very soon as well.
And Caroline Buchanan, the face of Nutrigrain, she was a great interview as well. So
what a superstar she is, eh?
All right, well, we'll see you all again tomorrow for the Detour Live, and we're going to cheer on anyone from Mitchelton-Scott and Caleb Ewan, the Aussie. So good luck.